Okay, hi everybody. It's your co-hosts Michael Harris and Joel Sadler here, and you are listening to The Hero's Journey. Today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, and that's pre-predictive programming. Often people these days are asking, or they have for many years, but often I've found, and Mike's found more and more people questioning the media's narrative, or we could say maybe mainstream media's narrative around certain things, around wars, health issues, bits and pieces. And I think a lot of people are really questioning it. What I'm also noticing is the number of people that are turning off or stopping visiting some of the mainstream websites and media companies around the world just because they've kind of had enough and they sort of smell a rat. So I think we're living in a time of transition, and that people are starting to question the narrative, which is a good thing. But I suppose it brings us right back to the whole point: is why is a narrative there? And if there is a narrative, what's the narrative for, and what's the whole point of it? And I know you got some interesting thoughts, Mike, around why it's there, and how the media is used as a bit of a tool, essentially, or a maybe I don't like to use the word weapon, but you know what I mean. I suppose you could say it's weaponized to push certain thoughts or agendas through. Do you want to share a little bit around your thoughts on, why it's there and how it may or may not be being used
Yeah.
to
Well,
get a
let's
certain
look at
message
let's
across?
look at
Mm.
the how the mind works for a start. I think
Mm.
we've touched about this on another talk at some point, but
Yeah.
we're highly suggestible, and with what is going on around us through our senses, we pick
Mm.
up on all the different bits and pieces, whether it be sight, whether we hear it, whether we smell it, whether we touch it. Throughout all our senses, we are
Yeah.
taking in information. It's a huge amount of information, and then our reticular activator is sorting through that information to then take on the stuff that we perceive as relevant. Otherwise, we can't take everything in fully consciously. But
Mm.
the subconscious picks up on everything. Hence, advertising, subliminal messages, repetition. It's just we're bombarded with stimulus all the time by those that know, that are then using that to help us create narratives, buying patterns, guiding society in certain directions.
Yeah.
So they've known about the ruling class, if you so to speak, the ones that understand all this. And I really firmly believe now, I heard it not so long ago, it made so much sense. If
Mm.
you look at the ruling class, so we say there's a ruling class, there's around 13 families that have been these bloodlines running the show for a long time.
Yeah.
The information they get brought up with and how our world works and functions and how the mind works and soul and body, I
Mm.
can tell you it'll be vastly different than the information that we get as the plebs, as the commodities that they govern. And
Mm. The
so
useless eaters.
they're useless eaters, they'd like to call us as well. Yeah. So
Mm.
batteries that they're,
Yeah.
taking from. And if you look at that, you go, well, okay, I guarantee their schooling system that they get brought up through and what they get taught is completely different, vastly different than what we get. So we get a version where we're kept in the dark about how our world really functions, how it
Mm.
works, what's really going on, how to use ourselves, the power of the mind, the power to govern our emotions, what health really is about. That's not the allopathic medical system, which is again a form of keeping our vibration low and I believe keeping us sick chronically.
Mm.
So like from every
Mm.
aspect, things are different as far as what they know to what we know.
Mm.
And then you go, okay, well, what are the means in which to challenge us or to drive us to these certain narratives? And you look at TVs, for example. I think they've been in homes now since the 60s, was it?
Mm.
50s, 60s, 70s. And then you can actually go online and you can see there's a court hearing. I think this one was in the 70s from memory. The CIA admitted that they were using television to create suggestions and to control narratives to
Yeah.
drive us into certain ways of thinking. So if you look at this, how many people have TVs in their homes?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It's
if, if, you, a huge amount, right?
yeah.
A huge amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much every household has a TV now. Not every, there's a
Mm,
lot of people that have moved away from it now. They've woken up to what's going on. But, you know, we elected through wanting to keep ourselves comfortable, wanting to be entertained, governed,
yeah,
to put all these screens like a direct pathway for whoever wants to imprint us with a message or a narrative. We've given them a direct portal
yeah,
into our homes and houses
yeah,
that we sit. And then if you look at going further, if like you got movies, TV programs, and then you got
yeah,
the news, who tells us it's the news? They do.
yeah.
Who then, and you go back, and for anyone that wants to do this, I'm like, don't just believe me, go and do the research yourself. But
Mm,
go and
mm,
look at your country, who owns the media channels that you listen to. Like the
mm,
channel in New Zealand, we have Channel 1, Channel 3 News, you have Media Works, you have the different radio stations
yeah.
they own. And you can go and see who the hedge funds are that own those, and then who are the major shareholders or
Mm,
stakeholders in those
mm.
hedge funds. And
Oh,
it's the
yeah, yeah,
same people. So you're
yeah.
like, well, okay, these are the ones that perpetrated and built the fear narrative, you know, from 2020 to
Mm,
2023. You all
mm,
know what I'm talking about. Fear, 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 keep you all low vibration, keep you controlled, and create a problem, create a reaction, and then have a solution ready. And so that's what they've done.
yeah.
It
Make
worked really
billions of
fucking
dollars
well. Yeah, and made
in the
heaps of
process.
money,
Mm,
go for people taking experimental stuff,
yeah.
caused lots of damage, just what they're doing, they've done for such a long time. And then you've
Mm,
got outside of the media or the news, you've got movies.
mm,
And then you got movies, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go, well, there's certain themes of movies. I don't know if you've all noticed, but how
mm,
many pandemic fucking themed movies have we had over the last 20 years
mm,
where there's some killer virus or there's some killer thing, and there's zombie movies. Like there's these
mm.
pandemic
Space,
movies.
Star
We
Wars one.
have we have zombie movies that are
Yeah.
like just over and over and over again.
Mm,
We
mm.
have dystopian movies with these crazy
End
controls
of
and these like just
times
the
sort of thing.
end
Yeah.
of time. The same
Mm,
fucking
mm, mm.
genres over and over and over and
Yeah.
over. Why? Why are they creating the same genres over and
Well,
over and over?
yeah. It's.
Because they want us collectively as a consciousness to help bring about these things.
Mm,
They are also disclosing what their intentions are, because that's part of their karmic belief, is they have to tell us what they're doing so that we, if we don't do something about it, we've elected it. And
right.
also the pre-predictive programming aspect is if they show
Mm,
us that,
mm,
and our subconscious takes it in, our conscious, when it kind of happens in real life, we have
mm.
a lower barrier to entry because we've seen it before and we can kind of accept it. So these
Yeah.
are the things that are at play with what they're doing. And some people will listen to this and go, oh, there's no way, you're crazy. There's no way that they'll be doing that. Like they can't fathom that type of reality.
Yeah.
But if you were in
Well, we're born
control,
into it, right? We're born
yeah,
into it.
you
I was
totally
born
we're
into a
bought.
home with the TV. I didn't
Yeah,
have any say. It was
100%.
just normal. I was born watching cartoons and kids programs and all that being programmed, whatever it was
Yeah,
programming me. And
yeah,
funny enough, we say we choose the program.
yeah,
What program? What do you want? What
yeah.
program do you want to
What
watch
program
today,
do you want to
kids?
watch? Yeah,
What do you want to program your
yeah,
mind with today,
totally.
kids? Yeah.
So you look at all this, and these people that don't want to fathom it or can't fathom it, it's
Mm,
not because it's not real. It's that they're choosing to be ignorant to it, and they're
mm,
choosing whatever. The other reason might be that they don't want to swallow that pill, that's what's happening, because it's too scary, and therefore they have cognitive dissonance to protect their psyche
mm,
and keep
mm.
them safe.
Yeah.
But if you actually go looking into the information, it's all there.
Yeah.
All the information is there on what's been happening and going on.
Oh, yeah. I think some people, in fact, I know people that know stuff is up, that things are up, but they don't want to look at it. And it's almost a choice of choosing cognitive dissonance because it's too confronting. And I don't
Totally
necessarily have a problem with that. I think that that's part of the human condition, and that
agreed. Yeah.
until someone comes knocking on their door, if it ever got to that point, or something happened to them or their family, which is potentially at the moment, there's some stuff, interesting stuff coming out around in the health space. And, what are we now? We're 21st in our time zone, 21st of December. Let's see how that pans out with all
Mm.
this. I'm talking specifically about the COVID jabs here in the data that's coming out around, increased mortality rates around the world, increased cancer rates, concerns from insurance companies about the number of claims that are coming out, overloaded health systems and all this sort of stuff, weakened immune systems, some crazy stuff coming
Isn't it
out,
amazing
and
how
people
well
are,
they've still, for a portion of the population, kept that under wraps? There's
yeah,
people through my clients and my coaching, I'm hearing more and more stories of turbo cancers. People that, like I had a client the other day, said a friend from England rang him. He had like a week to live and he's ringing around his friends and family to say
mm,
goodbye.
mm,
There's another woman that's in her early 40s that went to my school in Nelson, and now she's
mm,
got a cancer that spread from her breast to her liver to other places. They can't do
yeah,
anything for her. I can't even count now on two
no,
hands the amount of
same,
stories I've heard in the last few months of these crazy turbo cancers that are kicking
yeah,
off. And then
yeah,
you still get some people that I know that will
mm,
go and say, oh, well, cancer's been around for ages, and just want to try and hang on to it. There's nothing
mm,
abnormal. There's nothing. And then you look at what they're doing through the media, still trying to keep the
mm,
lies alive. It's actually
yeah.
mind-boggling.
Well,
Like, I'm
what?
actually impressed with them,
Oh,
how well they've managed to kind of
yeah.
keep it under wraps. But it's like it's exploding at the seams, but
Oh, it's
somehow they've still
crazy.
got this
Like,
blanket over top of like
but
what's
there's
actually happening. It's
yeah.
insane.
So the TV. I don't watch a lot of TV these days. I watch some movies, but I'm always confronted with stuff whenever I watch a movie. I'm like, I watched the
Yeah.
Terminator one the other day, and I'm like, whoa, it just was pretty spinny some of the themes in that. But
Yeah,
anyway,
fancy that. Fancy that.
yeah, fancy that. There's an AI that just turns nasty
Just
and tries to take
wow.
over
And
the
how long have they
world.
been telling us
Elon
that
Musk has been
for?
talking about
Whoa.
that as a potential
Yeah,
for the
when did the
last
first
10
Terminator thing
years,
come out? It was in the 80s or
80s.
9.
I
Yeah.
think.
Uh,
Um,
and what was
so
that? Oh, hang on. What was it called? Skynet.
yeah,
Wasn't it
mm,
Skynet?
yeah,
The
yeah.
AI computer took it. Oh,
Mm.
what's the other thing called that old Elon's done? Skylink. Is it
Well, and what's
Sky?
the Chinese surveillance system called?
I don't
Skynet.
know. Is it Skynet?
Yep. Wikipedia, that bad boy. This
Oh
the
yeah.
name of the Chinese surveillance system used to surveil or watch its own citizens is called Skynet. Or it
Yeah.
was. I've got it screen. I don't know if they've changed the name of it now, but what are the odds?
What are the odds? What a
Yeah,
coinky dink.
yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I think what was I gonna say about oh, it's just gone from me now. But yeah, basically I think that oh, that's what it was. There was I can edit this piece out. There was an ad. So when I do watch telly, it's mainly sport related,
Hmm.
and I enjoy watching certain sports certain times of the year. And there's all these ads that are coming up now about heart attacks. If you think you're having a heart attack, dial 111. And I'm like, I've never seen an ad for heart attacks before. When
Yeah.
was the last time you saw an ad about heart
Here in NZ
attacks?
as well, they changed, I think it was earlier this year or last year, they changed the reporting need and the
Mm,
definition of sudden death, sudden death, so that
yeah,
the reporting was going to be altered because there was that many call outs. It was something like 5,000 something call outs for sudden death. And
really.
police have to report they
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
investigate a sudden death. And there was like within 1 year, there was 5,000 something rather sudden deaths. It was like a huge amount. So they'd actually changed the definition of. So all these kind of mechanisms
In
they're trying to be put
legislation.
in. It came out through the Official Information Act. There was someone asked, and the letter was
Wow.
written, but they're trying to change the
Yeah,
definition of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I got a friend that obviously can't name names, but he's in in the police force and he has done that before. And we were talking a little bit about jabs and stuff like that. Not necessarily just COVID, but other ones. And he said, yeah, he sees it all the time. With this was not just COVID jabs, this is other stuff
Yeah,
to a child that had died. And they basically say, oh, did the child have vaccinations the week before? Yes. Or the day before? Yes. And he said they just turn a blind eye, to it, but they're very aware of it. So I think if he, who I trust is in that space and who is talking about that honestly, I mean, it must just be something that you turn a blind eye to in that role and get on with the job, I suppose, but it must be pretty disconcerting. Um,
yeah, yeah. And this is the thing: how many of these people like that know? Now, I know there's a lot of people that know now. Like I talk to people. my wife suffered from this has happened, oh my God, there's no way
mm,
we'd go back and do that again, we didn't really want to.
mm,
And so all this resentment's coming up now, these
mm,
people that have
mm.
realized that they've poisoned themselves, they've poisoned their kids,
Yeah.
they feel like they were pressured, they were coerced, all this stuff. It's all kind of coming to a surface.
Mm,
Yet still, people are weird to want to talk about it. They
mm,
know it. That'll come up privately in conversations. But when we actually look at what's transpired, it's such a grand scale of deception and damage that's been done.
mm.
And it is,
That's super
you got to,
confronting too, right?
it's
Like
super confronting.
we're,
Our reality's changed forever.
yeah, in my opinion, most people that I know are intelligent people, and generally, there's always a few obviously that make some poor decisions, but well, I suppose across society there are many that make poor decisions. But sort of my point is that the people, generally the people that I know and associate with, are quite smart people and intelligent people and make good decisions in their life. And I think it's quite confronting. I know even for me, like with something we were talking about around buying and selling property in one of my
Mm.
coaching sessions, it's quite confronting to think, oh, I might have made the wrong decision, or what if I have made the wrong decision? And then what does that even mean? Does that mean
Yeah.
I'm going to die? Does that mean that, because everyone's heard all these conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff, right? But it's a pretty confronting space to be in too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Um,
for those of us, these definitions of awake and those that are aware,
mm,
it's kind of like the definition that we use, right? Compared to
mm,
those that say, for
compared to woke.
example, yeah, compared to woke that just want to be governed, follow whatever they're
Yeah.
told, think that they have our best interests at heart and just blindly
Mm, mm,
follow. For those that were aware, and again, when we talk about challenge, we talk about pain, both have their pains and challenges.
mm,
Those that are ignorant, well,
mm,
and that wanted to be governed, that just wanted to trust blindly
mm,
and give their power away. Well, the
mm,
pain that come with that
mm,
is doing as they were told
yeah.
and being misled and
Mm,
going and taking experimental shit that caused damage for a lot of people.
mm.
That's the pain that they suffered from just not wanting to critically think, to have that
Yeah.
challenge to take on, the
Or
pain of critically thinking. What
yeah.
we've got is the pain of being aware and awake,
Yeah.
being ostracized,
Mm.
seeing this stuff fold out and having to deal with the rawness of it all and having to make decisions that are very confronting. That's the pain that and challenge that we have
100%.
to deal with.
And then you've got the third group, which is people that there's four groups. Is that the third group is people that made the decision to take that and chose that pain as opposed to, say, losing their job or jobs
Yeah.
and income.
Yeah.
And like it was pretty much forced upon most industries, and most companies were implementing it. So
Yeah.
they
Look,
could
just
have
on that
chosen
too,
that
though,
pain like that, you know?
I have with that part there, everyone's
Mm.
got their excuses. And if we look at it all, it was two
No, no, I mean,
shots for,
I'm talking about the pain though. So instead of choosing the
totally.
pain of like, losing 100 to, let's just say two incomes at like 80K, say losing 150K of income to pay for mortgage, look after the family and all that, instead
Mhm.
of going through that pain, people chose to go and get the jab. Or
Yeah.
I
But
know
okay,
some people that
let's look
chose
at
to
that
go
through
to
a
a
different
cafe,
lens.
wanted to keep
Let's,
going to the cafe and
yeah,
gym,
yeah.
so they
Totally.
chose that,
Let's look at
Mm.
it through that lens. So I look at that, and this is where I was going to go with it. But
Yeah,
okay, I did it to keep my job, and I've heard this many times.
yeah.
Well, cool. I know lots of people that kept their job that didn't get jabbed. Because what did? They stood up for themselves. They
Mm,
investigated enough, understood their rights as a human being,
yeah,
and understood there was no grounds in which to do that on. But
yeah.
again, it came back to self-governance. It came back to
Mm,
really taking ownership and responsibility and facing the challenge of being ostracized,
yeah.
made wrong, going against the herd. It
Choosing
was
that pain.
avoiding that
Yeah,
pain
yeah,
to then go, well, I'm just going to shoot myself up with this shit
yeah.
because I don't want to face the fact that I'm going to have to stand up for myself and my
Mm,
job and keep
mm,
it.
mm,
Whether it was two shots for summer, two
mm.
shots to save my job, two shots to save granny, two shots
Yeah,
to travel, two shots to go to the
yeah,
pub,
Yeah.
2 shots, not to be labeled a anti-vaxxer conspiracy theorist. Like
Mm,
they
mm,
just leveraged off every emotional lever they
mm,
could
mm,
lever off.
mm,
But at the end of the day,
mm,
the pain came from
mm.
not taking complete ownership on governance over your body
Yep.
and your rights as a man or woman that has the right to put what they choose inside their God-given body.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it came down to.
Oh, yeah. Well, it did. And also how ingrained we are, to your point about, to our discussion around television and programming and all that, how
Yeah.
ingrained into society our lives really are, which is what do I mean by that? So that within literally like 3 to 6 months, or just say over a year, that could be thrust upon us,
Mm-hmm.
to that point where you couldn't go to the gym or go to a cafe or take your kids to the pool or whatever, all the stuff that we journeyed through.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was another world. Like we
Yeah, it
found
was.
ourselves living in another world and in
A,
another
a
existence. And
dystopian future.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was actually, I really enjoyed the exercise. I had some horrific confronting experiences, and it was really growing.
Hmm.
At the same time, I now know that I can do that again. I now know that my
We've got
family
experience to draw
and
upon
I
now.
are
Yeah.
tight enough together. If something like that ever happens again, we'll make the same decision. And if something worse happens than that, we can easily make a decision for ourselves and stick to it. And what was amazing for me was seeing my wife, like how staunch she was. Like I was just, really blown away by that. So that was quite encouraging, I think, with the whole experience. And yeah, yeah. And I'm getting people now who, like a friend of mine just texted me and then he just rang me. He just obviously needed to talk to someone, said, "Oh, I had a friend of mine in Auckland die, 37-year-old, just bought a home." They're ringing around, everyone's sharing good news, come to our home, sitting our home party, opening party or whatever. And next day, unfortunately, they had to ring around and say the guy's died, like literally the day after. And everyone's like, what the heck? And then in this other country overseas, I won't say where it is, the government's actually saying to people, be careful how hard you exercise this summer.
Oh, you can say
So
what
you
country.
don't
You can
so
say
you
what
don't
country it
die.
is.
You
Say
don't have a heart attack.
what country is it?
Oh, that was in India,
Yeah.
apparently. They put the government, publicly having
Telling
the
people, yeah,
conversation with
some
people.
countries were definitely not on
Yeah,
board with
yeah,
rolling that out as much as other countries. And I can
yeah.
tell you the country that we were in, and
Mm,
it's not down to, and here's the thing, if you look at it, it's the shills, and I'll call them shills because they are the little puppets
mm,
that were positioned around certain nations at that particular time. Again, just another coincidence
mm,
to roll this out. And then you've got the lower ones who I just think are retarded. They're just bureaucrats that just don't know, don't think for themselves, maybe get a
mm,
backhand, maybe just following orders. They don't want to think too much. They just want to go along with the herd too and not rock the boat. And
mm,
there's just so many people in that boat, but they're up the top. There's enough in those key positions, a few,
mm,
two that are just driving that piece. And
mm, mm,
some countries didn't have those people in place to the same degree. They
mm,
got pushback. And if I look at little NZ, we're the perfect test tube experiment size. And we have been for lots of things with a lot of gullible people here because we're
mm,
such a young nation and we've been kind of wrapped in cotton wool. We haven't had to go through challenge. We've had what I would call the illusion of democracy. We haven't had a
mm,
massive challenge or things to go through here that we can then draw upon as an experience to understand
mm,
that the people in charge may not necessarily have our best interests at heart.
mm,
And so
mm,
this for a lot of Kiwis has been the first big realization
mm. Oh,
that
yeah.
maybe shit's not what it's all summed up and cracked up to
Mm.
be.
Well, I think you could, and I'm very careful not to speak for these people, but I think it's safe to say that, you could argue that maybe the Maori people have been through some experience of in the past of traumatic experience, or colonization, obviously, when the British came through. So
Hmm.
you can actually see, like I see it all the time, I have a lot of Māori friends and a lot of chat groups and stuff, quite a lot of skepticism around. I think it's sort of been used as a weapon again this day and age.
Yeah.
We're grappling with all that now, but there is a lot of skepticism, and rightly so, I think, from that experience as to what you're saying, where they question things and narrative around the Western style of doing things, and all that sort of stuff. So you're right. I think traumatic experiences create pain and growth, don't they? And our nation's going through that right now, or starting to go
Yeah.
through it, and it'd be interesting to see what unfolds over the next, maybe, I don't know, maybe even 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, you just look at it now.
you
There's
know.
not like, I
Mm,
think if you went down the road and just asked any person,
mm,
do you know anyone in the last year to 2 years that's had some form of aggressive cancer all of a sudden pop up, or some weird illness since,
mm,
a rollout of a certain thing?
mm.
There's like not no one that I can think of that I haven't had this dialogue with that knows someone that's had something like
Mm.
that. The
Well,
writing's on the
that's the
writing's on the
scary
wall.
part, it's like, when is it going to stop, or if not stop? I mean, I've even seen records in mainstream media outlets about how the jab has affected women's menstrual cycles and or ability to carry a baby and or get pregnant, right? So
Yeah.
not only are you going to potentially get hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of people that have died from just receiving the jab instantly, but then these now aggressive secondary issues, immune system response like cancer and all that, where the immune system can't handle them, that wave will go through, and then you may get all this blimmin', burst, no burst for a while as well. So it's probably potentially, holy moly, I mean, it could be one of the most pivotal times in our in our
But like,
current
yeah, and this stuff's been
world.
going on for ages. It's just that it's on such a scale now that
Yeah.
every human's kind of been experienced
Mm,
it.
mm,
But if you look at different things that have happened over the years, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday. That, do you all remember us in the 90s or early millennium? Oh, weapons of mass destruction. Oh, we've got to
mm,
go in there. Old Hussein, he's got all these
mm.
weapons of mass destruction. We've got to go in. We've got
Yeah.
to save the free world against this tyrant. Come on, everybody. And then lo and behold, a few years later, oh, yeah, there were no weapons of
Mm,
mass.
mm,
Yeah, oops, we made a mistake. Oh, but in the meantime, we've gone and bombed the shit out of the place, taken him out,
mm,
robbed the place of its resources. Oh, don't worry, but our companies that we own are setting up the
mm,
infrastructure.
mm.
There's no conflict of interest there. Don't
Just,
worry about that.
yeah.
And then you've
It's just
got
criminal, isn't it?
you've
It's
got
literally criminal,
9/11, the
you know?
same thing happened,
Mm,
and
mm.
and then the whole
Well, isn't
COVID is
isn't
just
there
another
apparently an
one.
offshore oil reserve or gas reserve off the coast of Palestine? The
I
the
think
whole
it's very,
conflict.
from one thing I saw, I think it's very wealthy with resources there. Are you talking about that one there now? Yeah, it's
Yeah, like I just come across some information the other day, and I'm kind of like, not saying that that's what it's about, but it just adds that complexity of who controls access to
yeah,
that
totally.
resource. Like,
Yeah.
and you can kind of, when you dig behind the back of it all, realize, oh man, that's why the billionaire jockeys at the top are playing, at the top, the same thing. And we're
Yeah.
told this about
Different
this and told this
conversations,
about
different
this, and we're
awareness.
pitted
They
against
have a
each
they have a
other.
different
Choose
perception
a
and vision and
side and blah, blah,
reality
blah.
of the
At the
world.
top of it, it's
Totally.
just fucking business.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man.
Mm,
It's like the inside track.
mm,
And so just to wrap this up today, this has been
mm,
it's an interesting conversation because we're having lots of them. But on a positive note, like,
mm,
just like, I don't profess to know everything. None of us do. We're all fed a certain amount of bullshit.
mm,
And the only thing we can kind of do is just use discernment to look at the evidence that's in front of our faces versus just what we're being told.
mm,
But to question everything, I question stuff, and I'm
mm,
grateful I do
mm,
that. I'm grateful I have the consciousness to and awareness to question things and not just take it for a grain of salt because it's been told
mm.
to me.
Yeah.
We are living in exciting times. Things are changing, and we have the ability to create with this.
Mm,
And so now, what I believe the upside of all this is that's happened is it's
yeah.
exposed the system enough
Yeah.
that it's waking up enough people to go, hang on a second, this centralized control and
Mm.
governance we've had,
Mm.
we don't really need that anymore. We can now start to change this system, provided we empower ourselves, because you can't have a dictator, whether it be a group of puppet masters that are pulling the strings. You can't have them in place when you have an empowered society, because then people are self-governing.
Yeah.
So we have an exciting time ahead where, due to all this happening, and it needed to happen, it's elevated consciousness. And now we have the ability to redefine and recreate what governance and self-governance is, and what we choose to accept and not accept.
Well, and we have the technology for it as well.
Yeah.
Like imagine a global voting system, for example, or a national voting system running on the blockchain, which can't be tampered with, for number one. We know stuff's being tampered with.
As long as it's a decentralized blockchain.
Yeah, decentralized, right?
Yeah.
There's lawsuits going back all day, every day about that. You can't deny that gets tampered with, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. But then also people that choose the pain to take 10 minutes to read what they're going to vote about. You know, like a referendum, for example, about, hey, what do we do about our health system? You know, and a few key points about fixing it, and let's vote on that as a population. You know, everyone, let's get engaged and get involved. It's going to take you some pain to understand what the heck we're talking about. It's
Take
your
thumb out
decision
of your
for
mouth,
you and your
stop
family.
sucking on your thumb.
Yeah.
Put your big boy pants on, big girl pants on for
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I really think and hope that out the back of all this drama that's playing out, that's what's going to happen, is people are going to go, fuck, I've been so disempowered in that space.
I believe
Enough's enough. I'm prepared.
And there's going to be a
actually,
spectrum. There's going to be those that won't, that still want to be governed and whatever. And so be it. There's always going to be a gradient, right? And but then there's going to be the other side. So but exciting times. It's the end of 2023. This is our last recording this year. Did we talk about the cyber attack that's coming? I don't know if we did. But
no, we didn't.
For those that want to, this is really, I've got to go because I've got a client in a minute. But the world, Leave the World Behind on Netflix. That's what's coming, my friends. They want to bring the CBDCs in, central bank digital currencies. They want to bring the digital ID in, and they pre-frame all this stuff through movies and media about what's coming. That's just come out. I guarantee you can quote me on this because it's been recorded, that in the next year or so, we're going to have a cyber attack from hackers. And then there's going to be the problem, which is that there's going to be our reaction of fear. And then our saviors will come in with a system that they've just managed to pull together to look after us again, that coincidentally has a whole lot of control mechanisms on it that give them greater control over us. That's what they're going to try and usher in. Who knows if they're going to get away with it? But that's what that movie that has just come out with Julia Robertson is all about, to pre-program and to let us know that that's coming. So on that note, let's all stick together, empower ourselves, and have a great 2024.
That's right. Amen.
What were you going to say?
Who were the, wasn't there some politicians involved in producing that movie or something?
Barack and Michelle Obama were executive producers of it,
Of that movie. When did they start producing movies?
Pandemic, when it came out a few months before the Roni came out as well.
What? Say that again? You broke up.
They were also producers on the pandemic movie that came out 2019, a few months before the Roni virus came out. The pandemic happened. What a coincidence!
How can you deny that?
Goodness me! What a coincidence!
I didn't even know they produced movies. And
no, neither did I. Funny enough.
What happens next?
Look at that.
Bring on 2024.
Yeah. Exciting times. See you, man.
See you, mate. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.